everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Be Delicious Budgeting. My name is Anna. I have my dog Marshmallow here with me. So I'm doing another life updates video. So I guess you can consider this part 2 of my last one that I did. So if you haven't seen the first one, definitely check it out. I'll have it linked above. So I have a lot more good news this time around, which is definitely great because the last one was just kind of like a lot at once. So I'm really happy to see that there's like progress, we're getting answers, we're getting things done. So stay tuned to learn for more. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I focus on content such as beauty, lifestyle, and how to save money. So if you're interested, please hit the subscribe button down below. Also, give this video a thumbs up. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Piece of news I want to share with you all is I finally got my promotion. So it's not the big promotion where I had to go back to school and everything for, but hey, it's a promotion, so I'll definitely take it. And I was informed that the big promotion that I'm working towards, there's going to be 4 positions available in my city, so I'm definitely going to apply to that as well, and hopefully I'll have some greater news within a few months and promote again. That one will be like everything paid off, I could use my degree, so really excited for the opportunity to apply for it. But hey, I will definitely take that promotion now, so I just wanted to share that with you all. Speaking about work, I know I posted the video last week, but if you haven't seen that, if you're new here, I have been teleworking 100% since the pandemic started, March of 2020. I was sent home towards the end of March, and we have a return date first week of September, which is still pending just due to the Delta strain. So I may be returning back to work and maybe on a rotating schedule, like maybe a week in, a week off, but even on my week off I could be called in. So I just have been trying to adapt to like a new schedule. So I've been trying to let the dogs out like a maximum of 3 times, and also I'm just trying to like print and look up recipes I can make quick and easy, or like in the crock pot. I've done it before, I could do it again. There's Coco in the background, but you know, just having a year and a half to like a totally different schedule and routine, it's definitely hard to go back into that field. And then on top of that, March of 2020 is when I left my job of 7 years and started this new job, and then 3 weeks later we got sent home. So it's kind of like starting over again in a sense, or being like the new kid at school, like, you know, seeing people face to face, putting a face to the person's name. Like there's some people I talk to every day and I'm like, I don't know what you look like. So just kind of feeling that out, that environment, new place, like all over again is kind of not scary, but you know, it's just something new to adapt to. So just a lot of new changes going on, and like our building got renovated, so I don't even know how that looks like, how my cubicle looks now. So it's just like a lot of change when we do have to go back, and that I have to prepare for. I always bring my lunch, so I don't even know if the lunchroom is available. It wasn't that big to begin with for how many there are of us. So I don't know if I'm gonna be like eating in my car, my cubicle. I'm not sure, we're still waiting the details, but there's just like a lot to factor in and try to prepare for. A while ago, I know I kept mentioning in several videos that I had like this rash would just appear out of nowhere. It'd be gone for a few days or a few weeks, and I think, oh, okay, I don't know what that was, but it's gone, and then just randomly appear again. And just one day, I think about like 2 months ago, I just could not take it anymore because like my face just looked all bruised. Whenever I opened my mouth to like eat or drink, like my skin would crack and then it started bleeding. I just felt like so dry, and just it was just crazy how every time I even talked, like my skin would crack and bleed, and I was just thinking, what's going on, what is wrong? So instead of doing these video appointments, I finally, ever since COVID started, I had to go into the doctor. I went back, the doctor was like, I don't know what's going on, I don't know what this is. Sent me to dermatology right away, and her reaction was like, oh my goodness, because she had me open my mouth. She's like, oh, it's cracking. And she's like, oh, there's a lot going on. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? When she was examining my skin, she's like, there's a lot going on. One of them was the perioral dermatitis, which I was diagnosed with previously with the video appointments. And the second one was jewel rash, which is super embarrassing. So my husband actually said I had that at first and just said, oh, put Vaseline on it, which he was actually right this whole time. Maybe he's a doctor secretly, just kidding. Anywho, but the first doctor and the other doctors through my video appointments were saying, oh, with perioral dermatitis, you're not supposed to put anything on there. So I wasn't putting any moisturizer, any Vaseline. So my skin was legit just like cracking, getting dry. Like I wasn't even putting sunscreen on my face because the doctor said not to, just the cream I was prescribed, but then that was burning my face. So it was just a whole mess, and the dermatologist was saying, no, you're supposed to be like keeping it like hydrated and stuff, like no wonder. So basically, I know it's kind of hard through video, but I was just told something opposite, and the only time I put on makeup was to film or like when I wasn't having a rash. So it was just like really cracked and dry, and then she said it was like opening up like my skin. So then like the jewel was getting in there and then creating bacteria, I think she said. I don't know, don't quote me on this. Basically, she was like, we have to just do like this full-on treatment. So they had to put a steroid cream on my face, sent me home with this steroid cream, this other cream, and then Aquaphor. Oh, and then also we found out my lips were also like becoming super dry, and I kind of felt like, I don't know, it just felt really weird. Like any chapstick I put on, I just felt like it like came right off. I don't know how to describe it. And she goes, what are you using? I was like, chapstick. And she goes, yeah, no, I think that's making the problem worse. Like, you shouldn't be using that. So she's like, toss all your chapstick, which I did in my makeup declutter video, which I had a ton, and I'm only supposed to use Aquaphor now or Vaseline. I haven't had the rash since, so every single night I had to put a thick layer of the Aquaphor or Vaseline, so there's like a barrier so my skin's like hydrated and doesn't like open up again. So ever since I went to the dermatologist in person, that rash has been gone, has not come back. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, really, just some drooling? Like, who would have thought? I'm like over here, like, I'm trying new products, like, which one is it? And I really thought it was like one of the products I liked, but it was just me drooling. How embarrassing. Anywho, I'm glad that's done with. The rash hasn't come back, so I'm very glad I went in and got that treated and that's done with. So I had to put this on Marshmallow because he's been having a lot of hair loss and keeps licking hair, which he's not supposed to. So I know in my last video I was talking a lot about Marshmallow's declining health. So he has been blind for about 3 to 4 years now, and I know in the last video, like, this eye was a lot bigger than this eye. So now they have both shrunken. I don't know why they still, no matter, we did like at least 5 different tests, they don't know why his eyes are shrinking. So they said, like, you know, if the pressures in his eyes go up, that then they'll have to remove his eyes. But as of right now, they don't foresee doing that, which is good news to hear. But also at the same time, like last time he went, they said the pressure in his eyes were a little bit lower than usual, which, you know, before they were high. So I don't know what's going on. They changed his medicine again. So it's just a lot, like trying different medicines. Like, you know, sometimes it has to be 2 to 4 times a day. So just trying to keep track of all that. And then also I order his medicine on Chewy because it's just a lot cheaper, but just trying to like keep up with like updating my auto ships and like, okay, he needs this much, trying to get the vet to approve it for him. I started noticing that after treatment, he was like losing like hair little by little, and then it started to shed too a lot, where he was like completely bald and like his back hind legs, like even here, and he's just like licking himself, and we're like, what's going on? But you know, we were primarily focused on his eyes, and then once his eyes got into a better situation, I had him see a dermatologist, which I don't know, they had eye doctors and dermatologists for dogs, but I'm just learning this as we go. So he went to see dermatology. They thought that he was gonna have Cushing's disease, and I was just like not prepared for that. Like every visit, I'm like crying hysterical. I'm like, is that gonna affect his lifespan? Like, I hate to ask that question, but he's my baby. I've had him since I was 18. So, you know, he's, you know, we don't have children, he's my baby. He did have Cushing's that could affect his lifespan, and I was just not ready for that. But then they said to follow up with his primary vet to do like a complete blood panel. So we went to his primary vet, and she was asking questions, and she goes, I don't think he has Cushing's. So I'm glad we canceled that test because it would have been $500. And she was like, I want to do this other panel. It'll rule out a lot of things. It'll rule out if he has Cushing's or not. So we did that. As cheaper. It's still $300, which last month we paid $630 for testing. And that's the thing too, it's just been a financial stressor, like every month doing these tests, paying for his medicine. I mean, I'll do it 1,000 times over. I love him, I want him to be comfortable, but also, you know, just trying to like save up for like our things, or just all that has just been stressful. Even if you split it 4 ways, that's still like $150 you weren't like planning for. And these tests do get expensive, and we have to take him back this month to do it again. So it's just like, you know, more money. And then next month his checkup's like $200. So it's just like always a few hundred every month. It just seems to like not stop. But I noticed the last visit his weight was 7 pounds when he was normally 13.5 pounds. So I'm thinking he lost half his body weight. So I called his vet, and even before that I noticed he felt lighter, because I have to pick him up to give him his medicine and stuff. And I kept asking him, doesn't he seem skinnier too? And everyone's like, oh, I think it's because of his hair loss. And I'm thinking, no, he feels lighter. So she's like, I noticed that too. The end results were that he was diagnosed with hypothyroid from the blood panel, and the vet was saying how it's odd because he didn't show any of the signs of having a hypothyroid aside from the hair loss. And she informed me that usually they gain a lot of weight, but with Marshmallow, he lost half his body weight. So she said that's like the first time she's seen it. She thinks that's a little odd. So she's kind of curious to see like why that is. So I'm just thinking, oh great, is there like a secondary cause I'm unsure of? So now he has to take a thyroid pill. Also in my last video, I mentioned I was having like these panic attacks. I was just getting like anxiety over everything. So I have some like good news. So I know this is gonna like sound silly, but like when my friend and I went to Los Angeles, we went to California Adventures. She wanted to go on this roller coaster, which I usually love those type of rides, but for some reason, there's like the Incredibles one. I was in line just freaking out on the inside, and I saw these like little kids in line. I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. But then when we sat there, I was like, I don't think I can do it. And then like the thing went over us, and she's like, me neither. I was like, oh my goodness. But I just like closed my eyes and screamed the whole time, and it was fine. I was just so happy. It was like so fast, so we got over it. So I was like really happy I didn't have like a panic or an anxiety attacks. I really thought I was, but I didn't want to be rude. So there was another ride. It was like the Ends of the Galaxy one, and I didn't know it was like the drop one. So we got there, I was like, I can't do it. We had to leave the ride. So I felt really bad. So I didn't want to flake on her a second time because, you know, she paid to get into it. I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't want to go on any rides. But I was really happy for myself for going on the roller coaster one. A few weeks ago when cases were down, you know, my husband and I were starting to like get back into traveling again. And, you know, we wanted to be safe. So we got like tested before and after. And I was getting like anxiety before the test because I heard people saying like, oh, you could feel it like in your brain, they shove it so far. I seen like grown men like cry over this. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, if they're crying, I'm over here like freaking out about it. But I think I got like lucky the few times that I did it because I'll like let them know, hey, I'm super nervous. So I don't know if they're just being more gentle with me or if, you know, they're just not being as forceful. But I was like, I actually like freak out like during the test, but then once they put it in, I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. Like, oh, okay. It's just like when they insert it, it's uncomfortable for like half a second, maybe a second. And after that, it's like really not bad. So my cousin's husband gave me this like book to like get over your fears and stuff. I was avoiding like one appointment with my doctor for years. Like finally, I was just thinking, you know what, Anna, you did the roller coaster, you did this COVID test without passing out, without having an anxiety attack. So I just kind of reframed my thoughts and turned like all my negatives into positive. I know that sounds like overly simplified, but it actually worked for me. And when I tell you, like, I'm the biggest like scaredy cat when it comes to like medical procedures or things like that, it really did work for me. So I just turned it into, Anna, you should be grateful that you do have health care. It is covered by your job. You have access to this. It's for your health. A lot of people don't have this. So you need to go in there, get over it, and be like grateful. So I just started like being grateful for things, or even like I said, like with Marshmallow's health, I'm like, why Marshmallow? But instead I was thinking, you know what? I'm glad I'm his owner and I consider his health, that we have his savings. We have my parents, my husband, who's willing to chip in for the bills, that they care for Marshmallow, instead of just being like, oh, it's just expensive. You know, I mean, it still is like financially stressful. Should be grateful that I am able to take him in and to get him checked up with like these different specialists, and just be grateful that I'm working from home so I could watch his behavior, give him his medicine. So I've just been trying to look at the positive side of things, and that's just really been helping me. I went to the doctors. I did freak out a bit, and like one of the technicians were holding my hand. The visit was just so quick and easy. It wasn't even that bad, but I just think me just like overthinking things and just like, oh, this and this may happen like during the visit, I made it a little bit more worse than what it should have been. Even with that said, it wasn't bad, but I think if I was just like a little more calm, it would have been like even smoother. But she was like, my friend, you have anxiety. I'm like, I know. And she was like, you should see someone. I'm like, I've been trying. And I explained to her like my little spiel. And then she gave me a phone number. I called the number. I have a one-on-one with a specialist. It's a 5-week program. So I'm really happy that the doctor mentioned that, and I finally connected with someone that deals with anxiety. So I'm really proud of myself for overcoming things that I was just terrified of and just changing my mindset. And that definitely seemed to help me a lot. And I'm even more excited to, you know, how to deal with anxiety and hopefully just not have it or find ways to cope with it to eventually not deal with this anymore. So I have to share today for my life updates video. So a lot more positives than the other videos. So we're working towards things, getting things done. So that's all I could really hope for. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below. Also, let's give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you all on my upcoming videos. Bye everyone.